Hello comic book fans, dear co-reviewers on the All-Star Superman project. While I'm flying over Germany, super Earl Grey am I, here are my thoughts on All-Star Superman Chapter 9, Curse of the Replacement Superman. Like all the other 11 chapters, this is written by Grant Morrison, of course, and drawn by Frank Whiteley. In Chapter 9, Superman returns from the Bizarro planet and has to deal with Bar-El and Lilo from his mother planet Krypton. They took over the Earth as Earth's new champions and have occupied Superman's fortress. A genuine nerd cave, by the way. We have already been shown in Chapter 2. Bar-El and Lilo have nothing but contempt for Superman. And somehow consequently they give him a decent, oversized clobbering. I mean, a really gigantic spanking. Even the moon gets damaged in the process. The comic takes relatively little advantage of the dramatic possibilities of a cracking moon. The animation movie is a bit more bombastic in this regard. Anyway, Bar-El and Lilo staple the moon together with some quickly provided bridges, and everything is fine, at least moon-wise. But then Bar-El and Lilo become sick. Some radioactive clouds caused the development of kryptonite in their bodies. And Superman helps them survive. Okay, he transfers them into the Phantom world in his nerd cave, where they can serve law and order from now on. A quite apt, clever and somehow funny turn, I think. Add some quite hilarious moments among the staff of the Daily Planet, where the hairpiece of a bullying guy gets burned. And I think in the animation movie it's clearly shown that Clark did this with his heat rays from his eyes. Okay, add this and you have the very plot of issue 9. Overall, and all in all, there are big things happening, and the story could carry a 4 or 6 issue arc otherwise, if done by a lesser talented team. Especially Grant Morrison's ability to shake great epic stories right out of sleeve shows here in an outstanding manner. It's an awesome chapter that combines lightheartedness and power in an almost easygoing, fluffy-puffy way. All-Star Superman has its moments always when personal relationships, especially, are played and fleshed out. In former chapters there were the relationships between Louis and Clark, between Lex Luthor and Superman, and here it is between Superman and the couple Bar-El and Lilo. But anyway, it's not my favorite Morrison issue. By far, I must say. And I've wondered why. At first, the most obvious reason is there are so many other great stories, from Doom Patrol, Seven Soldiers of Victory to Batman Incorporated, so there's a tough competition. Secondly, though, Frank Whiteley's art is beyond criticism. I have some problems with the digital coloring by Jamie Grant. On one hand, it's a consequent choice to give this comic a distinct look. Even this look is a bit bubblegummy for my taste. On the other hand, it is very foreseeable. If you look at the coloring on one panel, you somehow know the rest, how the rest is colored. The whole comic is washed in this soup full of light, poppy colors, and that's maybe not bad, and it supports the light-hearted atmosphere of All-Star Superman. But it's like a formula, like a computer program can do the coloring on its own. It's simply too slick for my taste, especially the color gradients. One thing I generally dislike in digital coloring. Thirdly, and now it gets a bit complicated and I have to digress a little. Digress a lot, this is a warning. But now I have to say some words about the superhero genre and possible reasons why most of the Europeans, and especially we Germans, are not so into this genre. I mean, there must be a reason why we have no problems with intelligent mice and speaking ducks, but are, very generally speaking, not very fond of super people. Of course, there are some DC and Marvel fans over here, but they are really a minority. So, super people, Übermenschen, Überman kind, is actually a concept that can be tracked back to the philosophic writings of Friedrich Nietzsche, especially his Zarathustra. In this book, he postulates the coming of some sort of Übermensch, Überman, a man after mankind, a better, stronger man, more worth than you and me. Nietzsche does this in a very lofty, quite poetic, actually, over-the-top kind of opera way. And I do like this book, but you can't take it literally. And I know I'm digressing a lot here, but I feel that these thoughts are maybe not so uninteresting. The Nazis took Nietzsche literally, very literally. They took the Übermenschen, superhuman concept literally, trying to create a new people of strong, fair, blue-eyed Superman and Superwomen, and under this premise they raped my country and Europe, big parts of the world. They raped humanity to a degree that makes it hard to be German and not to feel shame until this very day. After all that, I think it's understandable that post-war Germany and our neighbor countries too had less problems with a neurotic duck than with superheroes. So, coming back to All-Star Superman, especially Bar-El and Lilo embody this fascist ideal of heroic recklessness, at least in the first two-thirds of the issue. And even when they come to a mutual understanding with Superman or are posing in this last panel, I feel reminded of, let's put it frankly, images of heroic Northmen, Vikings and such, on some examples of illustrations on Nazi propaganda from way back then. Don't get me started about my feelings when I look at some drawings from, for an example, Jim Lee. And it's interesting that communist propaganda tended to use very similar imagery. To be fair, that are very general thoughts, I know. Very general thoughts concerning superhero comics. And I wanted to stress, and I want to stress and make it perfectly clear that I don't say in any way that superhero comics are fascist or Nazi books or so, or inferior in their moral and whatnot content. I really think that the best superhero comics, like All-Star Superman, are very complex, intelligent, emotionally gripping stories. I just think that under a European, especially German perspective, it's a bit more difficult to approach them impartial and with an open mind. In fact, Morrison does a lot to show that things are not so easy black and white like I just suggested. So there aren't superhero qualities in the first place that are saving the day in this chapter 9, but Superman's human character, his compassion, his mercy, and his kindness. So overall, even for me as one who isn't too much into the superhero genre for some reasons, this comic is one of the big exceptions and an example how an apparent, simple and straightforward story can bear multiple facets under the surface. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.